So very briefly, here's what we're going to do this next several months. So every month during the first week of the month, I'm going to send everybody an email with a bite-sized couple of topics to cover. At the end of the year, at the end of December, everybody should have a complete what we'll call emergency binder. And the concept here is the first monthly assignment is going to be the month of June. And I'll send an email probably next week, and it's going to explain what to start with. And that is number one, which you can see here, which is a cover letter to your loved ones that explains what's going on, explains why you made what you're making. This is a pretty morbid topic, but of course, this is something that somebody is going to be looking at in the event of your untimely demise or incapacitation. And then the second portion of the first monthly assignment is to make sure that you've got not only covered and in place, but somebody who you care about and trust knows what your burial plans are, and if you are or are not interested in organ donation. Some people, especially here in New Jersey, it's listed on your driver's license. But a lot of times people don't know if mom wants to be buried, where it is, if she has a burial plot, who she wants to say what at her funeral. Does she want to be cremated? Does she want to be thrown overboard in the ocean? A lot of options for people, and most of us think our loved ones know, but the reality is, from experience, they don't. So we need to let them know. In the second monthly assignment, we're going to work on a very simple list of important contacts. It's the who to contact section. And it's not just, hey, call Brad Katz, he'll tell you what to do with the finances and get everything set. You're going to want to think of a trusted person who you will want to have your family use as your estate's certified public accountant and your attorney. If you don't have one, I know some people who I can make some recommendations for if need be, but I'm sure you can certainly find some people local to you. Use me as a resort if you need to for that. And then if you have minor children, we're certainly going to want to make sure that we not only note who their guardians become, but those people know that they are to become their guardians, and who their trustees will be, who will cover their finances. Don't forget about your pets. Your pets can't speak for themselves, and you need to make sure that you have something in place for them. You want to make sure that, I have goldfish. You might have a dog, you may have cats, whatever the case may be. You need to have a plan in place for that, and not just to leave something written into your documents that says, leave my sister Margaret, my dog Rover, but make sure your sister Margaret knows. And there is some financial feeling or thinking to cover your pet, so your sister Margaret can make sure that Rover's taken care of. We'll go through that in the second month. In the third month, we're going to talk about personal possessions. And the personal possessions section is literally thinking of everything you own, what to do with it. I'm sure a lot of you can think of a family member who passed on and you didn't know what to do with all of their stuff, their car, their coat. I have my mom's mink coat. My mom passed away 5 years ago. She left it to my sister in her will. My sister basically said, you keep it, I don't want it. And now it sits in my house with everybody staring at each other. There are things like that you need to make sure you have covered. I left that one alone for that month because that's a very lengthy topic to write out. The fourth chapter, the fourth month, will be taking care of your online presence and your monthly subscriptions. I'm sure anybody who's on social media who has a friend who has passed away, every now and again you get a notification, right, that it's so-and-so's birthday. Facebook's reminding you, and you know that they passed a couple of years ago. So you need to be able to have a plan in place to make sure that all of this is not only closed but taken down. Someone needs to know how to do that. Also, an ability to cancel all of your random monthly subscriptions, Netflix, Hulu, etc., the landscapers, whatever the case may be. In the 5th month, we'll cover a couple of topics, financial accounts and insurance, very self-explanatory. And in the 6th month, we'll make sure that all of your legal documents are up to snuff. And if they're not and they need to be revamped, I will bring an estate planning attorney into the mix who can help if you need anybody, if you don't have one, for yourself, to make sure that you have all of the legal documents that you personally need put in order. And then the 7th month is going to be completing the binder. It's basically putting it all together. I know I'm calling it a binder. When all is said and done, this should really only be maybe about a dozen or so pages long. It's not like a massive binder that everybody's going to need. I'm going to recommend that everybody go and get one of these folders that has the 3-hole punch in it, and you can kind of make it like an old book report from when you were back in, or at least when I was in high school. I'm dating myself a little bit. Something like that. You can keep it certainly digitally. If you do keep it digitally, make sure somebody knows where it is. So that's basically the gist of our monthly assignments and what's going to happen on a monthly basis. If anybody has any questions, I will certainly say just unmute yourself, ask away. And otherwise, that was like I said, my 5 or 6 minute explanation on how this is going to go down.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right. Quick question now. Obviously most people are probably couples, so do you have to have like different flavors of this? Like one for just me, one for just Patty, one for both of us?
So that's a really excellent question. So if anybody didn't catch that, his question is, if you're a couple, do you need to make 2 binders or have multiple flavors? I'm going to go ahead and say that is strictly a personal decision. So I can share what we've done in my house, and we're going to eat our own cooking here. We're going to be participating in this year as well. What we've done in our house so far is we kind of each have one that basically is, okay, here's what I've got that you need to deal with. Here's what I've got that you need to deal with. And then there's kind of like the back chapters, which is if we're both gone, here's what the next person has to deal with. So I would argue, Bob, that it probably makes sense to kind of have like those 3 flavors, if you will, but it's kind of up to you.
All right.
Excellent question. Anybody else have any questions? Awesome. So the goal of this whole process for the rest of the year is, basically that at the end of the year, you've kind of got a completed, I'll call it emergency binder. It's the if bad thing happens, break glass type concept. And it's just one less thing for you and your family to worry about, that you make sure that everybody is kind of covered, rather than me having you you handle an entire checklist of things at one time that we all know none of us are going to do because it's daunting. We're breaking it up into these kind of monthly assignments. You don't have to share it with me. However, if anybody is interested, you do have your document vault on AdviceWorks. You can keep it in the shared folder if you'd like me to have a copy, or you can keep it in one of your private folders, which of course is only for your viewing. I have no access to seeing what you store there. That's all. Look for an email next week. Thank you all for participating. I appreciate the care you have for your loved ones, and I hope your loved ones know that you are doing something like this to make to make their life easier, because it's really kind of about them.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Brad.
Thanks, Brad.
Yep.
Thank you.
Ciao for now.
Thanks,
Bye.
Brad.
Thanks, Brian.
Brad, you're
Bye.
the best.
Thank you, Brad.
Let's go.
Yeah.